Hello. In our last video on the power of voice, we were talking about perceived competence. So how there's a relationship between how you speak, how you communicate, and how competent everybody thinks you are at your job. There is no actual correlation between the two things, except in other people's minds. So today we're going to be talking about two things that will really help you up your perceived competence. We're going to talk about whole body communication, and we're going to talk about Miss Mouse voices. So let's talk about whole body communication first of all. Whatever you're thinking will become a feeling, and those feelings and thoughts become beliefs, and those beliefs impact on our actions or the behaviors that we take. So if we go back to that idea that we were talking about in video 1, where you might be thinking, I'm not smart enough, I'm not old enough, I'm not young enough, I don't belong with these people, those thoughts are going to impact on how you feel about speaking up. They're going to impact on the action you take to jump into a conversation or to add your thoughts to a conversation. And they're going to impact it negatively. So you'll procrastinate, you'll perfect, you won't speak up when the time is right. And by the time you have perfected what you want to say, the conversation has moved on. But more importantly, how you feel about yourself and your ability to speak up, or your right to speak up, will impact what's going on in your body. So if you feel like you don't really have a right to say anything, your spine might collapse. You're not likely to stop making eye contact with people. You're also much more likely to start touching your face or covering your neck. Okay, we do this because this is where our jugular vein is, and we're trying to protect ourselves from harm. Psychologically, we think that's going to help. So what happens is we stop being congruent. The things we're saying isn't congruent with what our body is telling our audience. And our audience are going to read our body language, first of all, because it's just bigger and easier and quicker, and it's done unconsciously. We have to process the words, and that takes a bit more energy and effort. So there needs to be congruency between what's going on. So if we are thinking, I have a right to speak up, I'm looking forward to sharing this with my audience, I can't wait to see what people say, I wonder if this is going to be the jumping off point for somebody else's brilliant idea. Because if we are thinking along those lines, the chances are our body language is going to match that. So we're going to sit up a bit straighter. We're going to have a bit more of an open chest. We're much more likely to be willing to make eye contact with people. And therefore, what we're saying and what our body is saying matches up. And then that's much easier for our audience to just absorb that and kind of go, okay, yes, I agree or I disagree, rather than, I'm not sure about this. There's something a bit off, and they're trying to figure out what it is. So the stronger match there is between what you're saying and what is going on with your body language, that whole body communication, the stronger the relationship, the higher your perceived competence is like to be. Now, on the back of that, what we're thinking and feeling about ourselves not only impacts our body language, it also impacts literally the tone of our voice, so what our voice sounds like. Now, when clients come to work with me, particularly on the leadership program, one of the things that we find quite commonly is what we call a disembodied voice. So I'm going to demonstrate to that for you now. So a disembodied voice is a very kind of clear, crisp, light voice, but can you hear it kind of sounds like it's just coming out of my head now. Now, if I relax and I allow my voice to drop back down into my body, can you hear the tone has changed? It's a bit richer, it's a little bit deeper in tone, and I sound more like the expert that I actually am using this voice, which is my natural voice, rather than the disembodied voice. But it's only come about because of what I think and how I'm holding my body. The two things have to work in conjunction with each other. So if we have that really nice open body, we can breathe a bit more deeply. If we can breathe more deeply, we can support our voice. If we believe that we have a right to speak up, the chances are our vocal tract, our throat particularly, will be relaxed and open, which allows for this deeper, richer sounding voice. And when we put those things together, the body language and the voice, our perceived competence increases. When we increase what's going on with our body language, we allow everything to relax, and we have a good tone of voice that sounds embodied, like it's coming out of our body, with what we're saying, then that message is so much easier for our audience to absorb, because all three things are congruent, all three things are matching up and supporting the content. This is one of the reasons why, people say to me, oh, I've done presentation skills training before, it didn't work. This is why, because presentation skills training layers skills on top of your current thinking. So if your current thinking is, I'm not enough, I don't have a right to speak up, it doesn't matter what you're taught. When things become challenging, you will revert back to your old behavior because it's easier. It's more congruent with how you're thinking. You won't remember those skills. Whereas if you address what you're thinking and address your right to speak up and embrace your expertise, your body language your thoughts will impact on your body language. Your body language will impact on the sound of your voice, and the sound of your voice will carry your message to your audience with just so much more ease than if they're all working differently. Because imagine that you're the listener and you're having to kind of work out what's going on with somebody's body, work out what their tone of voice is telling you, and listen to the content. How much more challenging is that for your brain? Now, you're doing this all subconsciously. This is never a conscious process, but nevertheless, it's going on behind. So we want to make the job of our audience listening to what we're saying as easy as possible. So we do need to have the congruence between those three, because then we really embrace the power. Then our perceived competence within our team, our organization, our community is going to rise instantaneously. I trust that you found today's video really helpful. If you find that your body language is not congruent with what you're saying, or that your tone of voice is not congruent with your message, then you might want to sign up and come and join us for our Leadership Presence 5-day challenge, which we are running in May. The link is going to be below in the content, and it would be amazing to see you there. It's 5 days training. It's free. You can come every day. You can watch the videos on catch up. There are workbooks available. And we will be doing a deep dive into all of these areas and how you can show up and demonstrate executive presence, or I prefer leadership presence in every single speaking scenario that you have at work. The last session that we ran on this was absolutely phenomenal. There's just amazing people on the program. So I would really encourage you to sign up while we have spaces available. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment. It really helps other people find us. Take care and have a fabulous day. Bye for now.